Hi everyone, it's Cheryl Cran and I'm back to my weekly videos. I had a little bit of a hiatus there. Life got a little bit away from me, but we're back on the weekly videos. I actually had two gentlemen who've recently interviewed me say, please stay committed to the weekly videos. One was Chris Rainey, who interviewed me for HR Leaders, and the other was today Jason from Mind Valley. So having those reminders that, those weekly videos do make a difference was helpful for me to stay committed to the project of weekly videos. So here we go again. I wanted to sort of shift gears a little bit with this video and talk a little bit about personal leadership for 2020. And I want to talk about the 4 things we can do to really elevate and enhance our personal leadership as we head into the new year, and really set 2020 to be a year of elevated humanity for ourselves, elevated effectiveness as an individual, elevated power, and really looking at what power is, and elevated contribution to others and helping elevate our teams and the people that work with us and for us. So let's get started on those 4 things. Number 1 is this whole concept of power versus force. And there's a book by the same name that was written years ago. I highly recommend it and encourage you to read it. But in the whole premise of power versus force, it's that we've come through societal norms that he or she that has the most power is the most effective. And really the difference between what we see as force equaling power. And so up until now, until the year 2019, he or she that had the most force, who were the most aggressive, appeared to be the winners, appeared to be the ones that were leading the way. And what we're feeling energetically, I know you're feeling it, and what we're seeing is a shift towards integration of what it means to be powerful. And so it's less about force and more about how do we attract people to want to work with us? How do we engage? How do we encourage and increase collaboration? How do we really value other people's diverse opinions and inputs? That's really what power is in 2020. And so what I'd like you to really consider is, from just a personal leadership standpoint, is your personality wired more towards aggressive force? Or is your personality wired more towards passive, letting things happen to you or for you? And there's really no right or wrong answer here. It's simply just a heightened awareness around how have you used power? How do you respond to force? I can tell you that force for most of us feels like coercion, feels like pressure, feels like somebody's trying to sell us something. And that's so 1990s, 1980s. It's not where we are now in 2020 and beyond. Where we are now is we're looking for people to inspire us, to help us see things in a new and different way, to help us grow and elevate and evolve to the next level. And as a leader watching this, that's really the opportunity for 2020, is for you to set a vision for your team. How do you want to help each team member elevate and evolve? How do you want to help him or her be more successful? How do you want to help him or her reach their goals? Even if it might mean that their time working with your organization is up and it's time for them to shift and you to help them move on to somewhere else that might surpass you as a leader. I'll never forget in my career, one of my best leaders was, one of the things he said to me was, my goal for you is to one day have you far surpass me in your career. And I was in my 20s when he said that to me, and it was very impactful because it showed 2 things to me. Number 1, he had high self-esteem, no fear of being threatened by me or anyone else. And in fact, number 2, he saw that the more he could help people be better than him, the more it helped him and helped the team anyway. So number 1 is power versus force. And let's look at power from a new place of vulnerability and of truth. And that leads me to number 2 as the 4 things that we need to do to enhance our personal power and our personal leadership in 2020. And number 2 is shifting our ego, our identity, who we are, to a me plus we, or a me equals we. And that's a huge mentality that's shifting and has to shift dramatically for us to really create this future of work that I talk about in my book, Next Mapping, and that we teach and consult and coach within our company, is helping leaders make that shift from me to we. And it sounds good in theory, but in practice it's really challenging. And we coach a lot of leaders who they think they're we, and then they realize, oh, wait a second, by me arbitrarily making that decision and without including the leadership team, I made it a me. So I think another second opportunity for 2020 in personal leadership is to really coach ourselves, hold ourselves accountable to, is this a me or is this a we? And am I behaving in a way that's aligned with my desire to create a more we collaborative culture? And, you know, I have to call myself on this all the time. As a consulting firm, we have a small team. My husband works in the business. We have Michelle, who's worked with us for a number of years, and we have a number of outsourced partners. And I've really, in this last few years, had to really stand back and go, wait a second, have I led this and not allowed other people to shine with this? Or have I been micromanaging too much? Or have I saying that we're a we, but then my behavior is to go off and be a me? And so for 2020, personal leadership accountability is to really check in and say, am I in a me or am I in a we right now? And we means we're helping other people succeed. We means we're helping them shine, excel. We're helping to give them opportunities to show their best talents and skills. We means that we've created a team where everybody is willing to help and support each other, not because they're wanting to protect themselves, but because they're wanting to add value to the people on their team and to the team as a whole. So I really think that this ego plus we, being able to self-check, self-coach and say, am I really being self-focused here or am I considering the we? The third thing that I would say is fourth part of the four things to enhance our 2020 personal leadership is the courage to tell the truth. Now, this starts with ourselves, by the way. So do you have the courage to self-analyze and say, you know what, truthfully, right now I'm feeling threatened by this coworker because he or she seems to be making a play for my glory or for my position. That's just one example. But what we want to have is the courage to tell our truth. How am I really feeling? And then have the ability to interact with team members around the truth. So rather than just, talking about what's on the surface, that crucial conversation courage that says, I'm willing to bring up this elephant in the room that none of us are talking about, which is we're all terrified about the future of our jobs because we're automating the entire business, something like that. And then by telling the truth, having the opportunity to then dissect reality and say, okay, what are the implications? What does it mean? How can we mitigate any potential job loss? How do we upskill, reskill? How do we individually help people to succeed and to make it through these exponential changes that we're all experiencing? So I would say that third element is the courage to tell the truth, and it starts with telling the truth to yourself. The ability to really hold yourself honest and truthful to what you're feeling and what you're sensing, but then also being able to truthfully bring up the things that require courage. And that's number 4, is really courage and create. So having the courage in 2020 to create, and because creativity is what leads to passion for what we're doing. So, but it takes courage to speak up and to say, I have this idea, or I want to build on an idea that we tried in the past, but now I've got some new information to help us with it. Whatever it is, it's that courage to create. And I'll tell you something, you know this already. When you're in a creative mindset, you are able to keep your energy much more focused on future and possibility. When you go into, oh my gosh, here we are, we're stuck again, or oh my gosh, we're not, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or oh my gosh, I can't get my team to come with me with this change, that drains energy. But if we have the courage to focus on creative solutions, that builds energy for ourselves and for others. And so really looking at every day, what can you do to create more of? So more collaboration, more innovation, more truth, more collective agreement and collective buy-in to what we're doing with change, more adoption of technology, more willingness to all be in this together as we move forward. There's no question that 2020 is going to be a year that follows 2019 in that it's going to continue to have fast change. We're going to have exponential innovation in technology. We're going to continue to butt up against people and situations that are going to challenge us and cause us to have to really regroup and to really build on our reserves and our resources in order to really be at our best for 2020 and beyond. So I hope these 4 things cause you some pausing to think about what you can do for your personal leadership. And being a great leader starts with ourselves. The more that we develop ourselves, the more that we hold ourselves accountable, the more that we focus on how we can continue to grow and learn, the more inspiring that is for the people that work with us, for us, and around us. I hope these 4 things have helped you think about 2020 in a new perspective, and stay tuned for the next weekly video. Bye-bye.